For the better part of a decade, Westside Gunn and his Griselda comrades, Conway the Machine and Benny the Butcher, have slowly been building their way to the top of the underground. Westside Gunn is usually thought of as the worst rapper of the three. In fact, in a 2020 interview with The Ringer, he stated, "I never considered myself really a rapper. I just curate. I love putting different people together and painting a certain picture." And that's when Westside Gunn is at his best, when he's creating a piece of art for his audience. His image is all about fine art, high fashion, and having expensive, lavish taste. He's given us a few certified underground classics over the years, most notably Fly God and Supreme Blientel. But Westside Gunn's magnum opus did not come out until 2020's Pray for Paris. Before you even start the album, you can see that Gunn is leaning heavily into the notion of his work being fine art. In the early 1600s, Caravaggio became the most important painter in Rome, with his hyper-realistic depictions of anguish and triumph. It's no coincidence that Westside Gunn chose this image as the face of his finest work yet. A piece that shows conquest and confident victory, as well as the ugly defeated head of Goliath, symbolizing how Gunn was an underdog who against all odds was able to become the top of the game, in this case, King David.
Francois is out. Are you sure, Francois? At 400 million then. Thank you all for your bidding here and on the telephone to my left. And of course here, Loic and Francois. It is with Alex Rotter at 400 million. Leonardo Salvatore Mundi selling here at Christie's. $400 million is the bid. And the piece is sold.
The opening track is a recording of an auction where a piece of art is being sold for $400 million. That shows the complete confidence that Gunn has in this album. It really feels like it's worth that $400 million. The entire album reeks of opulence. The first vocals that we hear from Gunn is him saying bonjour over his famous machine gun ad-libs. The classy, high-class production clashes with his rough and raw street lyrics and delivery in the perfect way. The production on this album is simultaneously simple and flashy, with cold piano loops and production from some of the greatest producers to ever do it. He teams up with his Griselda brothers on George Bondo, and they all complement each other so well. They rap about what it's like now dealing with their newfound fame and wealth, and Gunn really holds his own against these two top-tier wordsmiths. I cannot stress enough how much this album feels so much more expensive than Gunn's other efforts. It feels like he really took a step up in the amount of care that he put into every part of this album. Even the features that he got to contribute are of a higher ilk than usual. 327 features Joey Badass and Tyler the Creator, signifying a step into a more accessible direction for Gunn. Joey and Tyler live in a space sort of in between the underground and the mainstream, and Gunn using them here shows that he is moving into that zone as well, all while sounding true to his sound and not selling out his style at all. Conway and Benny link back up with Gunn for Allah Sent Me, which is one of the harder songs on the album. The trio goes back and forth, rapping a few bars apiece, each showcasing their incredible chemistry. And anytime Westside Gunn sings on this album, it almost sounds like a horror movie, and I mean that in the best way possible. His high-pitched crooning over his threatening boom 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 ad-libs is just so haunting over these cold and steady beats. The Alchemist, Freddie Gibbs, and Rock Marciano might be the three top dogs of this underground sound, and they all provide their talents to the perfect 500 ounces. I have to go back to that quote that Gunn had earlier, where he said, "I just curate. I love putting different people together and painting a certain picture." When most rappers have this many features on an album, it can feel like they sort of get lost in the shuffle, but not Westside Gunn. He gets out-rapped on multiple points on this album, but it doesn't matter. He curated a perfect piece of art that is bigger than him and anything that any one person can do on the mic. He gets the legendary DJ Premier to produce Sean vs. Flair, and then hops on the beautiful Tyler the Creator produced Party with Pop Smoke, proving that this is timeless music for hip-hop fans of all ages. And then Late Joliba ends the album off with a noisy but soulful conclusion in another great example of Westside Gunn perfectly blending his luxurious stylings of grandeur with his gun-toting no-nonsense street side. I know that most people still prefer some of his earlier albums, but in my opinion, Pray for Paris is where Westside Gunn really embraces what makes him unique, showcases his complete set of skills. This album also came out at a perfect time of his career. Griselda was just starting to break through and get love from the mainstream, and this was the perfect album to get them to the top. Gunn released 2 albums after Pray for Paris in 2020, and while they were both fine albums, they just felt a little cheaper. It didn't feel like they were worth the $400 million being boasted about on Pray for Paris. He has 2 or 3 more albums that he was supposed to release in 2020 before he supposedly retired, but I'm glad he postponed them and is taking his time. Westside Gunn is at his best when he's able to complete a grand piece of art, and art should not be rushed. He's currently executive producing Mach-Hommy's next album, Pray for Haiti, so I am beyond excited to see what his bro brilliant artistic mind will bring us next. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Let me know what your favorite Westside Gunn project is in the comments down below. I'll have another video up for you guys soon. Thanks for watching.
Boom, 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 boom.